Jen. Hi, my name is Emily, and I am the Associate Director in the Study Abroad Office. And I am very excited to kick off this Winter Intersession Study Abroad Fair with a great program that we're offering this upcoming Winter Intersession. It's a program on the US-Mexico border. And with us today, we have Professor Guzman and Professor Medeiros here to share a little bit about this program. And I will be here to also answer questions related to applications and cost sheets. The application is now open. You can take your time completing it because you do have till September 15th to complete your application, but it is open and you are now able to apply. So I'll turn it over to Professor Guzman to get us started.
Okay, again, welcome everyone. It's so exciting to see lots of people who showed up today on a Monday afternoon. It's rainy and cool outside. Dr. Medeiros and I are very happy to talk to you about the possibility of spending a couple of weeks in beautiful Tucson in the Southwest in January, when it will be very cold and dark in Western New York. I want to invite everyone, if you have questions as we go along, feel free to use the chat thread. In a minute, I'm going to be sharing a slideshow, so I won't be able to see the chat thread, but both Emily and Dr. Medeiros will be able to. So we want to try and be succinct with this info session and try and give you an overview in about 20 minutes. And then, have plenty of time for Q&A. And I know folks may have classes to go to, things like that. So I'm happy to stay on for as long as people have questions. But just to give you a sense of where we're going, we'll do a little bit of presentation style slides to get us started, and then we'll open it up for Q&A. Okay. All right, so let me share my screen. Oh, and as I mentioned earlier, I am using a computer that is not my own. It's asking me for special permissions. Just a second. Oh, goodness. I'm actually not sure what I need to give it permission for.
I just updated the share option, so I don't know if that will help if you try.
Okay, all right. I'll try that again, thanks. It may be something on my end because the computer that I'm using has a whole lot of restrictions set on it. So it's telling me I don't have.
And you can, if it's easier, you could also send it to me and I can click through.
Okay. I think that may work better. Or Dr. Medeiros, do you have it pulled up by any chance? Could you share it? Oh, can't hear you.
I don't have it pulled up, but I can pull it up right now.
Okay. Everyone, please hold on while we're having technical difficulties.
While she's pulling it up, I can
Emily, I tried to send it to you too. Whoops, go ahead.
Oh, perfect. I was going to say, at least, well, Professor Medeiros is pulling it up. I can pull it up too. I see.
Jennifer, Dr. Guzman, I'm going to chat you something in the box.
Okay.
I don't see it yet, but I can certainly show everyone the application.
It's got a progress bar going across. I think it's got a lot of photos in it, so it's heavy.
Well, at least I'll navigate to the application page just so everyone can see that while that's
okay.
So let me share my screen. Okay. So you can get to the program page for this program by going to our website and clicking search programs. And once you do that, you'll come to our landing page and you'll be able to search by Mexico or US Mexico or by anthropology, but it'll pull up the program page. And here you'll find the program dates, the academic information, the cost sheet, which I'll review a little bit later, the application deadline information, and this is where you would go to apply. So that's where all that is available. Let me see. Is it still sending?
Let's see. I'm trying to send it to you now over email, but it's big, so
Yeah.
it's a little bit fussy about sending. In the chat, it does look like it's trying to go to you.
Okay.
I also tried to email it to both of you, but I don't know if it'll go through email either. Dr. Medeiros, I saw your note. I'll try and reshare.
Why don't I go into the cost sheet? That's a less exciting portion of this, but at least I can at least show that while we're kind of working on everything coming through.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So as you can see, and I'm sure Professor Guzman's going to go through this, it's January 5th through January 19th program, although the course actually runs January 3rd or 4th through January 24th, it looks like, with online modules.
So online modules would be through, so the January 24th is the end of the winter intersession. So that's when final reports would be due.
And so pulling up the cost sheet. So all of our programs have a $20 application charge, which is something that you would pay when you go to apply for the program. And then the program deposit or the administrative charge is $250. That is something that you would pay after being accepted, typically within 7 days of being accepted to the program. We probably won't start application review to closer to the application deadline in September. So just something to keep in mind. This program has a estimated tuition of $885 with the college fee for the 3 credits of $1.70 per credit hour. And then the other costs associated with this program is the study abroad program differential, which includes your transportation, your accommodations, your excursions, meals, health insurance, faculty expenses, and admin fees. So that's where you're looking at about, for tuition and everything, you're looking at about $4,590. You will have to fly out to Tucson, and in Tucson there will be group transportation that will pick you up. So we'll be coordinating the flight so you arrive all around the same time. But we're estimating that something like about $500, depending what airport you're flying from, and personal expenses. So all in, you're looking at about $5,000 for this program. If we do have some scholarships on our website, and so after you apply for this program, you can apply for our winter intercession scholarship, which I believe is up to $1,000 to cover costs for the winter. So I do want to kind of share that. As far as financial aid, there's typically not special financial aid for the winter intersession, but what you can do is if you receive financial aid for the fall semester and you typically turn some of that down, you are able to utilize that aid and go ahead and apply that towards your winter intersession. So I see something in my chat. It looks like this session. Let me pull it up.
I have it up on my computer now, Emily,
Okay.
if you want to transition
Okay.
to me.
I think you should. Let's see. I just stopped sharing, so. Let's see. Yay. Thank you.
All right, so I'll go ahead and speak a little bit while Dr. Medeiros runs the slides. You can see that the official title for the course that is associated with the program is ANTH 388, Anthropology of the US-Mexico Border. It is a 300 level class, but it doesn't have any prereqs. So we would welcome students from any discipline or major who are interested in really having an in-depth opportunity to understand issues at the US-Mexico border, think critically about immigration and all the issues surrounding that. I'm going to switch to the next one. So our main objective as we're conceptualizing it is really to learn about life in this region. To think about we'll spend 2 weeks on the ground in Tucson, which is located in the Sonoran Desert, which is a beautiful region in the Southwest. And Tucson will be our jumping off point where we will be staying, but then we'll do a lot of excursions on a day basis. I'm gonna go to the next one. I have to thank Dr. Medeiros for many of these pictures. For example, this one, hiking in the Sonoran Desert. So we wanna think about the border and really kind of blow open our ideas about what a border is. We wanna think about the border region as a space of crossing and encounter now and in the past, where people's lives are really shaped by migratory processes that have been going on for a very long time, and to think about the many, as it says there, legal, economic, historical, and cultural factors that shape migration. Go ahead. So basic info that Emily already touched on, we will be on the ground January 5th through 19th. So that's a 2-week solid period of time that we'll be there. We'll do a little bit of preparatory work online right before and right after. As I said, we'll be in Tucson and Dr. Medeiros and I are instructors. Go ahead. So here's a couple of pictures to show a little bit of where we are. Thank you, Dr. Medeiros, who lived in Tucson for a long time, so has a wonderful trove of photos showing the beautiful space. Go ahead. Tucson is a UNESCO designated city of gastronomy. It is a place with a really vibrant, wonderful culture, really kind of iconic of the Southwest. This is the food here is one that I took a picture of when I was last in Tucson. Really delicious things to eat, great spaces to meet. Go ahead. And this will be our home base. This very, modest looking building. This is the base of an organization called Borderlinx, which is located in Tucson, and they're going to be our program partners. They're an organization that has been in Tucson for a long period of time. They are dedicated to doing experiential learning programming for people who are interested in border issues. Go ahead and go forward. I think our next slide is a map. You can see a little bit. The red dot is where Borderlinx is located. So that's where we'll be staying. They have kind of hostel style room and board there. We will eat meals together and we'll all be lodging there together. If you can see on this map that Borderlinx is walking distance from many of the greatest places to visit in Tucson. So that area toward the top is kind of downtown Tucson where there's great restaurants, museums, galleries, organizations, different things. Dr. Medeiros, I don't know if you want to touch on a couple of things here. Can't hear you.
So the location of Borderlinx is, I mean, is great, right? We'd want to partner with them even if they didn't have a great location, but it so happens to be they have a great location. If you go north of Borderlinx, you hit downtown, and what you can't see on this map is that just north of downtown is the University of Arizona's campus. So there's another like vibrant, it's kind of like college town neighborhood adjacent to downtown. And what's great is that while I was living there, Tucson put in a trolley system. That's where all these blue squares are. So the trolley goes from downtown to the University of Arizona. So there's a lots to explore, and it's really easy to explore walking and using the trolley, that you don't need to Uber or take buses or anything like that. You can just like walk, hop on the trolley, and it's pretty cute to take the trolley around town. So it's one of the other great things I think about being here. And one of the things I was pointing out in this area that you wouldn't be able to tell from this map is that this is a historic part of Tucson, especially here. They refer to it as the old barrio, so the old part of the neighborhood. And so the architecture is very cool, colonial Mexican architecture. So yeah, it's just a great place to be and to walk around and spend time in.
And then we have next coming up a couple of pictures from inside of Borderlinx. So we'll have a classroom space, but it's all quite informal. This really gives us space to hang out, spend time at the end of the day. After an excursion, we can meet back and kind of convene, have our conversations. They've got both indoor and outdoor space. We can go to the next one. Have, I think, a meeting space here. You can see, we've got lots of stuff, handy coffee anytime, cooking space, things like that. So we really can have an experience where we're spending time throughout the day together. So activities, a couple of things here, go ahead. So one part will be a walking history of Tucson, visiting, for example, the historical barrio that Dr. Medeiros talked about, but really get to have a sense of what is this as a lived space? What is the history here? We'll go ahead. And on another day, we'll be making a visit down to the infamous border fence. Right here, you can see a group of students walking along the border. You can see there's a border patrol vehicle. This is an area that's highly regulated, right? We'll spend some time thinking about what is the history of the wall or the fence. We'll learn about that. We'll have some guest speakers speaking about some historic incidents that have happened here. And if the US Department of State says that it is safe at the time to go into Mexico and pandemic sorts of issues are lifted, we would like to go into Nogales, which is the sister city right on the other side of the border, and see a little bit of Nogales as well. So that is on our plan if it's possible. And we would probably be visiting one of the open air markets there and learn a little bit about kind of the trans-border trade and what the work and labor issues are surrounding why it is that people cross that border on a regular basis. We'll go ahead. Another thing that we will be exploring is the history of US border protection and border enforcement. As we're talking about in ANTH 100, some of you are in there with me, we're talking about how in the last couple of decades, US border enforcement has been such that the only places where people who are crossing clandestinely into the US are crossing in some of the most dangerous places because they're unmonitored. So there has been an increase in people coming in and trying to walk through the desert to get up to Tucson or other areas, which has led to a huge increase in numbers of people dying from exposure in the desert. So there's a number of humanitarian organizations, many based in Tucson, that have begun to leave water and food in the desert. to try and help people who may be in dire circumstances and try and address this issue of people dying in the desert. So we will learn from some of these folks who are involved in the sanctuary movement, in humanitarian aid movements, and we will do a walk out into the desert to leave some water and understand the phenomena of what is going on there as well. On another day, we'll be visiting, there's a federal courthouse in Tucson where every day, Monday through Friday, all through the afternoon, there is a criminal court that addresses strictly migration and immigration issues. So it's called Operation Streamline, and it is open to the public. So we will go and we will observe what these court proceedings actually look like. On any given day, there are dozens of migrants who have been detained by Border Patrol, by ICE officials, and who are brought before a judge, and following on that are deported. Most of the people who are taken through Operation Streamline entered the country only a few days prior to that. So these are folks who had been in the desert, had been detained, and then are in the court very quickly after that. And we'll see those proceedings and hear from some speakers about what is the process behind this, what is the legal process, and what are concerns that people have with this process. We will also visit Florence ICE Detention Center, which is one of the migrant immigration detention centers that is run by the federal government. And there's an organization in Tucson that does outreach to people who are detained here. So we will meet with some of the folks who are involved in that outreach and advocacy programming, and we will make a trip to see what conditions are like there. And we will also have a couple of days where we have a little bit more of a break and an excursion to spend time together and enjoy the beautiful natural environment in the Southwest. We'll visit the Sonora Desert Museum and Gardens, which is a huge, beautiful outdoor garden area where there's lots of hiking opportunities. They have lots of the animals and plants that are native to the region, and we'll get to spend a day there too. One of the things that has been happening in Tucson for the last couple of years has been that as people are reaching the US-Mexico border and applying for asylum and submitting refugee status to try and get legally admitted to the United States, the immigration enforcement authorities will, for people who have then a pending asylum case, they will release folks to be in the US until their asylum hearing date. Most of these people who come have family or friends somewhere in the United States, but oftentimes very far away. So folks may be released from ICE detention in Tucson, but need to get to Buffalo, New York, or need to get to Idaho or Wisconsin. So for the couple of days until they can get a bus ticket to go to where they have family or friends, there's some organizations in Tucson that have housing and emergency services available for folks, legal services, health services, help people get some clean clothes, give children a little bit of an opportunity to relax after what's been a very arduous journey. So we will spend a day also learning about what's going on and doing a service learning assignment at one of these refugee assistance sites. You can see some of the great artwork by the kids on the walls here, some of the play spaces and art spaces for the children. Another phenomenon that we will talk about is that many people who are in the United States without authorization work primarily on a day laborer basis. So in Tucson, there's an organization that works to help connect workers with employers and also try and assist to ensure that workers are not exploited given their vulnerability due to their immigration status. So we will spend some time learning about what's going on in labor advocacy as well. And then I think I can turn it over to Dr. Medeiros if you want to talk a little bit about connections with local scholars, the university, and other things we haven't talked about yet.
I only have 2 more minutes on this call, unfortunately, so I won't elaborate too much. But this is the University of Arizona. Some of you may already know that this is where I did my PhD in the School of Anthropology, and there's a very vibrant Southwest Research Center at the University of Arizona. So our hopes would be to, potentially visit the museum at the Southwest Museum, and meet with some of those scholars doing research on the US border and on the Southwest in general. It is a lovely campus, as you can see. 70 degrees in January is always nice. And I think you may all enjoy meeting some University of Arizona students while you're in Tucson as well. So that's my 2 cents.
So we had broken down the program costs here, just an overview. I think this is basically a reiteration of what Emily had to say earlier, but maybe if folks have questions, we can open it up for questions. I know Emily and Dr. Medeiros, you need to head off, but what can we answer for you?
Feel free to chat your questions if you feel more comfortable doing that.
I will say that we do have a website on our homepage that addresses COVID-19 factors. I'm sure that's something that's all in your minds. It is strongly advised from our office that if you're thinking about participating in this program, that you consider getting a vaccine. There is a chance that SUNY may require students participating in a study away or a study abroad to have a vaccine. So I just wanted to throw that out there as something to think about. And as it relates to going over to Mexico, our website kind of addresses how we make a decision. But the fact that this program is in Arizona makes me believe that there's a lot better chance that this program should be okay to run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see, Elise, that you asked about what would the itinerary be if we can't go across the border. So our plan to go into Mexico is really for a day trip. So if we can't go across the border, we would at least be visiting the border, meeting with some folks who live in Nogales and who come across to the US on a regular basis, and really learn about those issues just without actually making the trip into Mexico ourselves that day. But we'd be talking about all the same issues.
I'm going to drop my email. I have to run, but if you guys have any questions from the application perspective, cost, how do I afford this? How do I make this happen for me? Please feel free to reach out to me.
And I'll say as well, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. I have to pop off as well. I'll also say that I know Emily looked up flights to get that ballpark number of 500. I do think that you all can find flights less expensive. I think I've paid on average between 300 and 400. So if you plan in advance and look around and shop around, we always, with the study abroad office, we always want to overestimate so that you're not under budget. But that I do think that that's like a little overestimation.
Thank you so much, Dr. Medeiros and Emily. I can stay on and answer questions if folks have them, but thank you everyone for coming today. And we hope you'll follow up with questions and interests. Thanks, Elise. Thank you, Jessica. Hi, Elena.
So I just emailed you. This isn't about the study abroad, but my registration is today, and I was wondering if you could give me the permission to register for the Language of Healing class if it's still available.
I can. Yes, I'll follow up in your email and we can do
Great.
that.
Thank you so
Right.
much.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by.
Yep, bye.
Bye.